So, with regards to this supposed rom-com from 2012, yeah, um, yeah, Silver Linings Playbook. I mean, what is? Is it even a rom-com? I mean, wow. Like I know, most rom-coms have problems with comedy, right? And they tend to focus on the romance aspect, right? Um, you know. I mean, so this kind of did as well. Uh, but there was barely even any romance. They just forced it in at the very end, and apparently people think it's romantic, right? Um, 7.7 average rating. Wow. Guess too bad they couldn't have had millions in the audience to judge their dancing efforts as well, huh? This is absolutely amazing. It's one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. Like seriously, even the stereotypical rom-coms, who at least try when it comes to cliched comedy. At least there's something, right? Even if it's cliched. Well, what the heck was this? Was there truly a comedy? I don't get it. I mean, there might have been like a sliver. Like, just what? I mean, really? I mean, sure, there was drama, but barely made sense anyway. Like, is it is De Niro really OCD, or is he really, really just trying to get him to have family time? But no, he seems to be really OCD after all. I mean, what? It keeps going back and forth. It makes no sense whatsoever. And you know what? And so pretty much the only remnant of the comedy is when she was chasing him, kept kept meeting up and such. That's like crumbs, really. I cannot believe this. It received 8 Oscar nominations. At least it didn't win any, but really? What's next? Evil Fluff receiving an Oscar? I mean, what? Honestly, it's just the most boring thing ever. I mean, if they didn't force a romance through it, if they focused on the aspect of what it tried to tackle at the beginning, sure, it might have been interesting. Heck, I mean, I actually like such um, topics to be the subject in movies. Kind of like a beautiful mind. But that's nothing in comparison to this. And even then, it's only like what, one on average, one more rated than this. Like seriously, this is seriously worse than most cliched rom-coms I've seen. Now, I give it that. It's not cliched. I'm not saying it's cliched. But yeah, I guess this is kind of the movie that made me realize that, not having cliche doesn't necessarily mean it's better. Not having cliche can still be boring. I mean, cliched movies are still boring, but not having, yeah, indeed, just, you know, I mean, they're just chasing around each other, just just going in some diner. And is this supposed to be comedy, seriously, or even how is it romantic? They just kept on going up and down, and just suddenly remembering something, going back down, and so many people talking all over each other constantly throughout the movie. Is this supposed to be interesting? It's it's honestly the most boring thing I've ever seen. It barely says anything. It doesn't really have proper drama per se, so I don't know what it's for. What on earth did people see from this? I don't get it. I mean, it didn't have any commentary on what it was supposed to have addressed at the beginning. and barely has romance really. It just forces us through at the end. Oh yeah, let's have them hug. Yeah, why not? And then suddenly they're a couple. Wow, ooh, that's romance, is it? Ooh. And whatever he told her in her ear, who knows? He's pining after this one person who suddenly he just divorces physically, you know. And what happened to the restraining order? Who knows? It's so bizarre. Eight Oscar nominations. Wow. Guess we'll be seeing a piece of fluff, a piece of naval fluff, winning the Oscar at some point. I'm pretty sure. Standards have been lowered. I mean, I don't know. Did even the Beautiful Mind even get any? Um. So even if it got, even if I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure it's rated on average higher. But even then, it's not even high enough. I mean, what the hell was this? This was nothing. It just barely said anything at all. Yeah, it was nominated for less. Oh yeah, no, never mind. It's one. Yeah, it's one for. So at least we got that. At least there's something sensible in the world. It won for, nominated for four more. But the fact that this was even nominated, it baffles me. It was so boring. And then, as if they thought, aha, the movie isn't boring enough. Let's introduce a football game. Yay! Who wants boredom? And a fight. And what? It's supposed to have been comedic, is it? That was the most atrocious scene ever in existence. I mean, they received five from the judges for the dance competition. Yeah, no, that football scene, whole thing there doesn't. I mean, it might have been five before. I mean, what the hell was that? It's just like it's always the same thing with movies. It's like they hire someone whose specific job is to ruin the movie. And what were those hooligans supposed to have? What the hell did they contribute? The most idiotic people ever. Ah, seriously, I have no idea what anyone is scoring movies on. No idea. Because, I rated A Beautiful Mind really highly as well. But the fact that this even is anywhere close is a shame. A Beautiful Mind said something. It didn't pretend to be some sort of comedy. It's not, but it didn't pretend that this is pretension of the highest order. It's not really comedy whatsoever. It even pretends to be a romance. It's not really. A Beautiful Mind did have a good romance, a true romance. Too bad it ended tragically in real life. Yeah. Oh, but no, she actually won the Oscar apparently for best acting. So yeah, apparently saying that you've had sex with 11 people is Oscar worthy. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, one of those things, huh? Um, it's bizarre. It's bizarre stuff because on one hand, I'm imagining a bunch of football fans liking this, because of course it had it was a big part of it. So I'm just imagining, a bunch of them there, kind of like in that scene. So while they're punching each other out, they just watch this movie in the meantime, and somehow they somehow ended up as judges in the Academy Awards. I have no idea about that at all, but somehow I have no idea. Or maybe one of the judges had a son or daughter who liked it. Yeah, why not? Well, whatever. Um, yeah. But then again, I mean, even if football fans liked it, and it's the reason why some blooming how it made 11 times the budget somehow, and it's rated 7.7. Oh, by the way, piece of fluff is rated 8. Yeah. Even then, though, I mean, do those type of people usually like dancing? One would think they're sort of opposites. I don't know. Maybe they like the mamba. Maybe they do the mamba while punching each other out. I have no idea. This is what's bizarre. Like, it's one thing if it's just about football, and then yeah, yes, football fans like it. Who knew? And apparently only football fans ever saw it, so that's why it's rated highly, and that's why it made, well, I suppose it makes profit if the more people go. So I guess if there's more football fans, then great. Or maybe football fans teamed up with dancing fans. Huh? That's a bizarre combination, but yeah. Um, who knew? I've no idea. To be fair, there was just a little bit of dancing. Honestly, if there was more dancing, it'd be more interesting. It was only just a very little bit. They really relegated it to the very end. I mean, well, there was more practice than actual dancing, the actual competition. So, it's not exactly dancing if those moments when she uh, she jumped onto him and they fell. That's I bet they thought that it was comedy. So yeah, I don't know. The idea of comedy is bizarre. It seems that some people have, but then again, it is subjective. So I must say, just I'm sure there's someone in the world who laughed uncontrollably because they fell twice. Hmm. Um. So yeah. Not, but no, not really. Even the practice was. Honestly, the football was way too much. I mean, and it just didn't know what it was. Is this a movie about football? Um, the bizarre thing, though, is that actually not much of it is seen at all. So even though it's mentioned almost constantly, not much is seen at all. So who exactly liked it? Because I'm assuming if it's football fans, then they didn't like the fact that it wasn't seen much. But then, I mean, did they still like the fact that it was mentioned almost constantly? I mean, what? Even as I say, even stereotypical rom-coms are more interesting than this because at least they don't mention. I mean, what on earth is either romantic or comedic about football? It makes no sense. I mean, I'm never just sometimes with some movies, sometimes I agree when either they've made profit or they're rated on average highly or they've had nominations or wins. But sometimes I seriously have no idea at all. Like I had no clue. You know, as I say though, as I say, like the fact that this even belongs in the same category as A Beautiful Mind, and I've only mentioned it because it has touches on somewhat of a similar topic, but nothing to do with it. I mean, this barely brushes over it. It's seriously the most bizarre and boring. I mean, this is the thing. Boring is mostly what it is. But that's the thing. How on earth? I mean, sure, I guess boredom is subjective as well. I'm sure so many people, I guess, found it exhilarating somehow. Um, but yeah, this is what makes no sense. Like seriously, I find movies like I don't know, Tammy to be more interesting. They're the most cliche, the most boring as well, but not as boring as this. It didn't mention goddamn football every half a second. But yeah, I don't know why I'm even bothered about this. It's just so long. It wasted so much time, and somehow it's been rewarded so much, and it's been so popular, and it's been rated so how great. So I guess now we're going to I'm seriously going to expect in the future any movie that mentions football every half a second is going to be highly rewarded, highly rated, and apparently highly attended. It just makes no sense, right? If they want to watch or even look at people talking about football, why don't you just do that? Why do they need to just plaster a movie all with it? It makes no sense. Um, and then you're just gambling and whatnot, and it's seriously. I mean, honestly, like I've seen another the re of the the guy's name recently and it was relatively boring, but some things are amazing. Like in comparison, I've only watched it first, so I thought, yeah, this is boring. If I had watched this first, I bet I would have liked it even more. Because man, this is way worse. I mean, at least they tried the cliches there, What was it called again? Um, this is amazing, and much more amazing the fact that honestly, I sometimes I wish I just do not go and check movies, as in what happened with them, their history, etc. Because it's just frustrating. Like and I do finish most movies, so it's not like I'm just going. But 2 hours is way too long for what it is. Just constant talk about football, just way too long. You know, and then to know that it's been so popular somehow. It's somehow one of those movies where one of only 40 something, 46 or such, that one no that was nominated for the big five Oscar categories. Wow. So I guess all the other movies in the world that exist are worse than this. I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, yeah. Obviously, everything is subjective in the end, but I've seen movies rated lowly, had no Oscar nominations, made no profit. That were certainly more interesting. It is subjective in the end. I'm not saying it's not, but this is unbelievable. Like, what on earth was the reason why this was so well received? I've no idea, honestly. And the likes of Crazy Stupid Love as well. Now that was well received as well, wasn't it? And at that point, I did think it was too much, and I still think that. But at least it didn't go on about football. Every goddamn minute, right? Oh no, second. I mean, second, of course. If it did go on about it every minute, maybe slightly. Actually, no, every second. Just the most exhausting thing ever. What's the point? I think it was this other the name of the film was, I think, The Big Wedding. I'm not entirely sure. They all have the same name. Now, any movie with wedding in the title is another. It's bound to be boring. You know what? I'm going to appreciate them better now. Because, at least they don't mention goddamn football every half a second. As I said, it's just weird because sure, it would be sensible considering the situation if they included, if they said this is a sports movie or such, but it's not even, if is it? I mean, sport movies usually have, usually feature sport. I mean, this is honestly the most bizarre thing ever. Barely featuring it, and yet going on about it constantly as if it's somehow the holy grail, and people are somehow all like, wow, this is so interesting. Look at people just mentioning football constantly. So amazing. Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea how this works. No idea at all of anything. But I guess the world somehow functions as it does. Somehow, for some reason. Um, this is why I don't bother anyway. With I literally do not. I have a strict rule about as much as possible, because of course every single site out there tries to push the average rating, etc. But I try very much not to look at that at all until the end, at least. And obviously I don't watch movies just based on whether they're nominated or awarded or whatever, or based on what they make profit. Obviously, I don't think there's many people who do that though. Yeah, but it's bizarre to at least it's not in the top 250. No, I mean, there were others in the top 250 that I have no idea how they're there. They might have been slightly less rewarded as well, but somehow I'm in the top 250. Despite being the most amazingly idiotic movies ever. Mm. Um, I mean, movies can have many things that are sort of negative, or at least what one sees as negative. Subjectively, sure enough, but I mean, boredom is one of them. But I can't believe a a movie that is so obviously boring somehow. I mean, it barely has anything. They keep on going on and on. If they're not shouting, they're arguing about football. Like seriously, is there anything at all that isn't boring? I mean, shouting is not only boring; it also destroys the sound system and internal whatever. Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I had no idea that movies about dysfunctional families were so popular. But in addition to featuring dysfunctional family, it features loads of football talk. So who knows? Maybe that's the secret recipe to making profitable movies. Who knows? It's amazing how much one discovers sometimes about how strange the reception of movies is. Truly, truly strange. Yeah. I've literally seen Bradley Cooper in less well received movies, but funnier somehow. At this point, I'm going to expect less well received movies to be funnier, Somehow, boring movies are well received. I don't know. Yeah. But seriously, I mean, I don't have a bad impression of him, so this has nothing to do with the actors themselves. Bradley Cooper was in The Hangover. I thought that was funny. I haven't seen it for many years now, but thought that was funny. I haven't seen uh, Jennifer Lawrence in many things apart from I've seen her one in a really gritty drama, yeah, something Bone, I forgot now, but really gritty, which at least doesn't pretend to be some sort of stupid comedy like this one, shall we say? I mean, it is a straight drama, and obviously I've seen her in Hunger Games, but at least these movies do something. They are something as opposed to this weird thing which tries to be so many things and ends up to be boring and ends up being mostly talk of football that somehow is well received. Who knew? Um, so yeah, just this isn't nothing to do with actors at all. Nothing at all. And I have no idea who David Russell is. Although apparently, I think I might have watched one before from him called Joy. Even that it doesn't pretend to be a thing, from what I remember, a comedy. Oh, yeah, does she star here as well? I forgot. But as usual, of course, I thought it was an interesting drama. It is a biography, though, so I don't think it's directly as it happens. They both star in it as well. But of course, it's less well received. I guess better movies are less well received. It makes sense. This world makes sense upside down. This sort of sense. You see, this was 2 hours as well. I don't remember it feeling it was too long. Though. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. It didn't pretend to be a comedy or anything. So it's a plain drama. From what I remember, that was interesting. So it's nothing at all about the actors at all, or even the director. It's just this whole thing. It's just bizarre and the most boring. I mean, I guess if you want to call it a rom-com, sure. One of the most boring rom-coms, even though somehow it's not stereotypical. Yeah, so I give it that. It just taught me that It's just non-stereotypical rom-coms can be boring as well. Who knew? And yeah, somehow boring films can be well received.